South Korean President released South Korea's impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol was released from detention on March 8 after his arrest warrant was cancelled. He expressed gratitude, stating, "I appreciate the courage and decision of the Seoul Central District Court to correct illegality. This release allows him to face trial for the alleged rebellion charge without being physically detained." Yoon was arrested and indicted by prosecutors in January over his martial law decree issued on December 3 of last year, which plunged the country into political turmoil. Just hours after the decree was announced, the South Korean National Assembly voted to overturn it. Subsequently, the Assembly also voted to impeach Yoon, resulting in his suspension from office. Upon his release, Yoon waved, clenched his fists, and bowed to supporters who cheered his name and waved South Korean and U.S. flags. He then entered a black van to return to his residence in Seoul. Event recap. Let's take a brief look back at this series of events.
존경하는 국민 여러분.
December 3, 2024. Yoon Suk-yeol announced an emergency martial law via a televised address from the Yongsan presidential office in Seoul, accusing the Democratic Party of being a pro-North Korean force that paralyzed the government through anti-state activities. This marked the first martial law declaration in 44 years, shocking the nation. The Martial Law Command issued Proclamation No. 1, banning parliamentary and political party activities, restricting assemblies and media freedom. Military and police forces sealed off the National Assembly building, with special forces attempting to enter and obstruct lawmakers. 190 lawmakers broke through the blockade to enter the assembly. At Ora 150, they unanimously passed a resolution to lift martial law. Speaker Woo Won-shik declared the decree invalid and demanded the withdrawal of military and police forces. December 4, 2024. Yoon Suk-yeol announced the lifting of martial law. Afternoon. 6 opposition parties submitted an impeachment motion, accusing Yoon of inciting rebellion. Mass protests erupted in Seoul and other cities, with citizens demanding his resignation as economic instability worsened. December 6, 2024. Yoon apologized for the martial law decree, promising not to reinstate it and hinting he would soon relinquish power. Defense Minister Kim Yong-hyun resigned, taking responsibility. December 14, 2024. The first impeachment vote in Congress failed. The motion required 200 votes but received only 190 due to absences from the ruling People Power Party. Protests intensified, and unions threatened strikes. December 21, 2024. The second impeachment vote succeeded, with opposition parties and some ruling party lawmakers securing 204 votes. Yoon was suspended, and Prime Minister Han Duck-soo assumed acting presidential duties. The case was referred to the Constitutional Court. January 3, 2025. Morning. The Corruption Investigation Office for High-Ranking Officials, CIO, and police attempted to execute an arrest warrant at Yoon's official residence in Hanamdong, Seoul, but were blocked by the Presidential Security Service. After a 5-hour standoff, the attempt was halted at 13:30, marking the first failed attempt to arrest a sitting president. January 15, 2025. The CIO's Joint Investigation Team broke through the Presidential Security Service blockade and formally arrested Yoon, making him the first sitting South Korean president to be detained. Charges included rebellion. January 19, 2025. The Seoul Central District Court approved extending Yoon's detention for up to 20 days. Supporters stormed the court, damaging facilities, and nearly 90 were arrested. Yoon was transferred to the Seoul Detention Center. February 21, 2025. South Korean police opened a case, accusing Yoon of using the Presidential Security Service to obstruct the January 3 arrest attempt, escalating the investigation. March 7, 2025. The Seoul Central District Court ruled that Yoon's detention was illegal, exceeding 48 hours without indictment, and canceled the arrest warrant, though prosecutors could appeal. March 8, 2025. The prosecution decided not to appeal, accepting the court's ruling. Yoon was released from the Seoul detention center after 52 days in custody. On the evening of February 25th, during the final debate of his impeachment trial, Yoon Suk-yeol stated that the emergency martial law of December 3rd last year differed from past martial laws. He argued it was not about suppressing the public with force, but rather an urgent call to the nation, warning that the country was on the brink of collapse. He aimed to awaken the public to this crisis and rally them to overcome it together. Yoon further claimed that external forces like North Korea, along with domestic anti-state elements, were severely threatening South Korea's security through fake news and public opinion manipulation. He emphasized his willingness to dialogue with any political faction, left or right, for the sake of the nation and its people, but stressed the need to stop communism. He described communism as a one-party dictatorship rooted in materialist totalitarianism, infiltrating South Korea through various means. Yoon insisted that South Korea must not compromise with these forces, preventing their influence over its political system and safeguarding liberal democracy. Interestingly, on March 22nd last year, Lee Jae-myung, leader of South Korea's largest opposition party, the Democratic Party, questioned at a campaign rally in South Chungcheong Province, "Why meddle with China?" Clasping his hands, he suggested that a simple thank you to China and Taiwan would suffice. Why poke our nose everywhere? He further challenged the relevance of the Taiwan Strait issue to South Korea, saying, "What happens in the Taiwan Strait or China is Taiwan's domestic affair. What does it have to do with us?" For the leader of the largest parliamentary party to make such politically reckless pro-China remarks was indeed surprising. Exclusive reports from South Korean media SBS revealed, the martial law decree was intended to enable the military to secure evidence of election fraud. In other words, sealing off the National Assembly was a decoy. Meanwhile, the Ministry of Defense dispatched 297 martial law troops to local election commissions, confiscating evidence and data. Only during martial law could soldiers conduct necessary searches without warrants. Around the time of Yoon's arrest, an intriguing scene unfolded. Surveys from 7 polling agencies showed Yoon's approval rating exceeding 40%, far above the 11% low after declaring martial law. Supporters held large-scale rallies across South Korea, protesting alleged election theft and demanding investigations into Democratic Party election fraud. Who's pulling the strings? During these protests, many South Koreans noticed unidentified police officers at rally sites, lacking badge numbers or name tags, unable to speak Korean, and acting rudely, unlike typical Korean police. Many suspected they were Chinese Communist Party, CCP, secret agents, invited by Democratic Party-controlled police to suppress Korean citizens violently, reminiscent of tactics used against Hong Kong protesters. Notably, on February 7, 2024, just 3 days after the 6 opposition parties submitted the impeachment motion, Chinese President Xi Jinping privately met South Korean National Assembly Speaker Woo Won-shik in Harbin, Heilongjiang Province. As a key Democratic Party figure, Woo played a pivotal role in the political struggle to lift martial law and detain Yoon. Some speculate he attended the 9th Asian Winter Games opening ceremony as a pretext to seek CCP support against the staunchly anti-communist Yoon. On January 19th, political commentator and retired U.S. Army Colonel Rhett John II posted on X. Numerous reports suggest CCP special forces have likely been airlifted to South Korea, posing as riot police. This mirrors the CCP's suppression of Hong Kong, a repeat of that playbook. If the CCP takes South Korea, it would effectively destroy part of the global chip supply chain. Additionally, during the Commander-in-Chief's ball on January 20th, U.S. President Trump's inauguration day, he unexpectedly video-called U.S. troops stationed in South Korea, briefly addressing them and issuing warnings to Kim Jong-un and certain forces in South Korea.
Hello, everybody. How we doing over there? How's Kim Jong-un doing?
South Korea, located at the forefront of the first island chain in East Asia, has long been a sensitive region infiltrated and manipulated by neighboring powers, particularly the CCP and North Korea. Yoon Suk-yeol's declaration and subsequent lifting of martial law, the opposition's rebellion charges, and his detention and release all bear the shadow of behind-the-scenes political maneuvering by various forces. In terms of comprehensive strength, South Korea's robust industrial capabilities give it a military edge over North Korea, despite the latter's claimed nuclear arsenal. With U.S. troops stationed there, South Korea can fully counter CCP military threats. However, the CCP's pervasive infiltration of South Korean society through economic and other means demands sober awareness from South Korean intellectuals, media, citizens, and the international community. As Morse Tan, former U.S. State Department Ambassador at Large for Global Criminal Justice, stated, "In South Korea, a coup is in process. The person who wants to take over the country is a communist. This is, to date, the most lucid and accurate assessment we've seen. Thank you for watching. See you next time."